but only one that's number one throughout the world: Chevrolet. The team that engineers Chevrolet is number one. The cars and trucks they design have greater public acceptance than any others in the world. The team that builds Chevrolet is number one. Every year they build more cars and trucks than anybody else anywhere. The team that sells Chevrolets is also number one. For every year they sell more manufactured goods and services than any other sales team in existence. Number one team. Think, if you will, what it means to be number one. And then think what it took to become number one. Years. Back in 1911, when that very first Chevrolet was put together in the Schulte garage in Detroit, Buick was already a household word. Oldsmobile was building 5,000 cars a year, while Ford was already building the greatest automobile plant in the world at Highland Park, Michigan. How could anyone dream that this car, this 1913 Chevrolet, this Cinderella of the industry, could dare to challenge Ford? Ford alone controls 50% of the market. He's building 250,000 cars a year. Everywhere you look, there are Fords. Challenge this? Challenge Ford? Take on the leader of the industry, lock horns with the undisputed master of them all? Ridiculous, absurd, impossible. So say the experts. But the men who build the first Chevrolet know they are building more than a car. They are forging a team comprised of the men who design Chevrolet, build Chevrolet, and sell Chevrolet. This team, as much as the car itself, would challenge the industry. Slowly, determinedly, the Chevrolet team begins its bid for leadership. In 1913, they build and sell 3,000 cars. Ford sells 400,000. 1917, fighting desperately, the Chevrolet team rams its sales up to a record-breaking 126,000. But Ford goes over the 500,000 mark. 1925, with sales continuing to zoom upwards, Chevrolet production reaches a record high of 500,000 units in a single year. But Ford goes over the 1,000,000 mark. 1926, Chevrolet organizes the first sales conference in the industry, the first sales training program, the first Sales Achievement Awards, the first cooperative advertising campaign. A new spirit inflames the Chevrolet team. Sales begin to soar. $8 million is pumped into new facilities to expand Chevrolet production to 1,000,000 units a year. 1927, the impossible happens. The thing the experts said could never occur. The dark horse that came from nowhere smashes home to victory. The leader, the champion, the master of them all, Chevrolet, is now the undisputed number one team. 1928. For the second year in a row, Chevrolet hangs up a victory over Ford. 1930. Depression stalks the land. Sales fall. But while others are wailing about conditions, Chevrolet's number one team goes to work with more vigor and drive than ever before to prove to the world that when things are toughest, they can be even more determined. For the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth years, Chevrolet roars into the finish line, leading everyone else in the industry, including Ford. 1935, the Chevrolet team charges out with the greatest mass-selling drive anyone has ever seen. On radio, in the movie houses, on the sales floor, never has there been so concentrated a selling effort. Chevrolet production is expanded with a new pressed metal plant in Indianapolis, a new assembly plant in Baltimore, Million car years are resumed as Chevrolet continues to rise. 1936, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. Every year it's Chevrolet #1. 1942, Chevrolet hangs up the gloves for the duration, goes all out for war production. But in 1945, with the war over, Chevrolet comes charging back with the greatest expansion program in its history. And matching the production upsurge, our team launches its greatest sales drive. 1948, over 1 million. 1949, 1,376,000. 1950, 1,800,000. With greater drive, greater enthusiasm, and greater selling skill than ever before, Chevrolet keeps pushing sales up and up. 1960, over the 2 million mark. And in 1965, Chevrolet's #1 team becomes the first in the world to build more than 3 million cars and trucks in a single year. That's what it took to get to the top. Now let's see what we're doing to stay at the top. We've expanded our facilities. We've instituted a new quality control program to make sure every car is in a more deliverable condition when it reaches the dealer. Every car has a 100% functional electrical check. Everyone has its brake system pressure checked against possible fluid leakage. Each car has a special fluid level check. Each car has 100% cleanup before shipment. Front carpets are being installed in every vehicle before it leaves the plant. Every car is given a new protective wax coating. Finally, each car is double-checked for all inspections to make sure it's in tip-top condition. Only then is that #1 team sticker put on the windshield. That's how all the members of our #1 team are maintaining the quality that keeps us up there in the #1 spot. But the one who's going to do the most of all to keep us there is you. Who? Me? Yes, you. You. And you. No matter who you are or where you are or what you do in Chevrolet, whether you're an engineer, a test driver at Chevrolet's proving grounds, a member of the Chevrolet Retail Sales Organization, a Chevrolet wholesale man, or any one of the many thousands of workers in Chevrolet manufacturing and assembly plants. Whether you're a foreman or an inspector, or an assembler, or a sweeper, you're all on the #1 team. And the team depends on you. The team depends on you to be there, on the job, every day. The team depends on you to do the job and do it right, the best you know how. Wherever you are, you're a very important part of the number one team. Without your drive, your determination, your daily dedication to the job, there wouldn't be a number one team. For even though Chevrolet is the biggest and most successful organization in the world, its strength is no greater than that of its individual members. When you're talking to a customer in a Chevrolet dealership, the impression you make is even more important because you have first-line contact with the people who buy Chevrolets. To the public, you are Chevrolet, your tops, number one. And because you are number one, people expect more of you, more spirit, more pride, more quality. They expect you to show that you're number one in many ways, large and small. The way a letter is typed, the way a bill is made out, the way a telephone is answered, the way a customer is treated, the way his car is serviced. They expect more attention to all the little things that lead to better quality, courtesy, promises made and kept. First-class appearance indicates first-class service, and the quality of service that has to be done only once. Most of all, Chevrolet customers expect that cars that are built by the number one team be made ready with number one quality and delivered in a number one way to make certain that the customer who buys from Chevrolet this time will come back and buy from Chevrolet next time. Number one treatment for every customer is the only way to keep leadership in our own hands. More than 2,000 different cars have come and gone since Chevrolet first came into being. They had engineers, designers, assemblers, dealers, and salesmen too. But where are they now? To get to where it is today, Chevrolet had to win out over every single one of them. No, leadership did not come easily to Chevrolet. It was fought for and paid for by the unstinting efforts of many thousands of people who went before us. It was they who made us number one. Years of effort, years of struggle, years of always trying a little harder, being a little better, fighting a little longer than the other guy. It's up to you today, who enjoy the status of being number one, to keep Chevrolet number one. There's no one else who can do it, except each of you, the working members of the number one team.